The pages of history unveil the splendor of civilizations that once flourished across the globe, each leaving an indelible mark on the tapestry of time. Among these, the Kushite Civilization, nestled along the banks of the Nile River in ancient Nubia, stands as a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and cultural richness. In this essay, we embark on a profound exploration of Kushite civilization, delving into its background, significance, and purpose, aiming to illuminate the vibrant legacy of a civilization often overshadowed by its more renowned neighbors. The roots of Kushite civilization extend deep into the annals of antiquity, tracing back to the Bronze Age. Situated in the region known as Nubia, encompassing present-day Sudan and southern Egypt, Kush flourished as a dynamic cultural and political entity from around 2500 BCE to 350 CE. Its strategic location along the Nile River facilitated trade and interaction with neighboring civilizations, including Egypt to the north and various societies across the Red Sea and beyond. Kush emerged as a formidable power during the New Kingdom of Egypt, forging strong diplomatic ties and even at times exerting dominance over its northern neighbor. The Kushite rulers of the 25th dynasty famously conquered Egypt, establishing their rule and marking a significant chapter in both Kushite and Egyptian history. The civilization reached its zenith during the Napatan and Meroitic periods, characterized by remarkable architectural achievements, sophisticated governance structures, and flourishing cultural expressions. The royal city of Napata, adorned with magnificent temples and pyramids, served as the political and religious heartland of Kushite society. Meanwhile, the Meroitic capital of Meroe emerged as a bustling center of commerce and innovation, fostering advancements in metallurgy, writing, and the arts. Situated in the heart of northeastern Africa, the ancient civilization of Kush thrived along the fertile banks of the Nile River, encompassing regions that now constitute modern-day Sudan and southern Egypt. This strategic location endowed Kush with unparalleled access to water, fertile soil, and crucial trade routes, laying the foundation for its prosperity and cultural development. The Nile River, with its annual inundation, was not only a lifeline for agricultural productivity but also served as a conduit for communication and transportation. The Kushite civilization flourished in close proximity to this mighty river, with settlements and cities clustered along its banks, attesting to the intimate relationship between Kushite society and the natural environment. The Nile River exerted a profound influence on every aspect of Kushite society, shaping its economy, culture, and political dynamics. The annual flooding of the Nile brought nutrient-rich sediment, replenishing the soil and facilitating bountiful harvests. Agriculture formed the backbone of the Kushite economy, with crops such as wheat, barley, and sorghum cultivated in abundance along the fertile riverbanks. Moreover, the Nile provided a reliable means of transportation, enabling the exchange of goods and ideas between Kush and neighboring regions. Trade flourished along the river, connecting Kush to the Mediterranean world in the north and the vast hinterlands of Africa to the south and west. This facilitated cultural exchange and the diffusion of technologies, further enriching the tapestry of Kushite civilization. The Nile also held religious and symbolic significance for the Kushites, with rituals and ceremonies venerating the river as a divine source of life and renewal. Temples and shrines dedicated to deities associated with the Nile attested to the spiritual importance of this life-giving waterway in Kushite cosmology. Beyond the Nile, the geographic landscape of Kush was endowed with a wealth of natural resources that contributed to its prosperity and resilience. The region's diverse ecosystems, ranging from fertile river valleys to arid deserts, harbored a rich array of flora and fauna, which the Kushites skillfully exploited for sustenance and commerce. The availability of minerals, such as gold, iron, and copper, played a crucial role in shaping Kushite society. Gold, in particular, was abundant in the Nubian desert to the east, attracting the attention of ancient traders and fueling the economy of Kush. The Kushites developed advanced mining techniques to extract these precious resources, establishing themselves as prominent players in the international trade networks of the ancient world. The climate of Kush varied across its vast expanse, with the northern regions experiencing a more temperate Mediterranean climate, while the southern reaches were characterized by a hotter and drier tropical climate. Despite these climatic differences, the Nile's seasonal rhythms provided a degree of climatic predictability, enabling the Kushites to adapt their agricultural practices and settlement patterns accordingly. The origins of Kush, like many ancient civilizations, are shrouded in the mists of time, with archaeological evidence suggesting a gradual process of cultural development spanning millennia. The pre-dynastic period of Kush, dating back to around 3500 BCE, witnessed the emergence of settled communities along the Nile River, engaging in subsistence agriculture and rudimentary forms of social organization. These early inhabitants of the Nile Valley laid the groundwork for the later flourishing of Kushite civilization, developing techniques for harnessing the fertile soil of the floodplain and establishing rudimentary irrigation systems to maximize agricultural productivity. Over time, these scattered settlements coalesced into more organized communities, laying the foundation for the emergence of complex societies in the region. The relationship between Kush and its northern neighbor, ancient Egypt, was characterized by a complex interplay of trade, cultural exchange, and occasional conflict. While both civilizations shared a common cultural and linguistic heritage rooted in the Nile Valley, they also maintained distinct identities shaped by their unique geographical and historical contexts. Throughout much of its early history, Kush existed in the shadow of Egypt, with the latter exerting considerable influence over the political and cultural dynamics of the region. Egyptian pharaohs embarked on military campaigns into Nubia, establishing colonies and fortifications along the Nile's southern reaches to secure access to trade routes and strategic resources. Despite this hegemonic presence, the relationship between Kush and Egypt was not solely defined by domination and subjugation. Trade flourished between the two civilizations, facilitated by the Nile River and its tributaries, with luxury goods such as gold, ivory, and exotic fauna flowing northward into Egypt in exchange for grain, textiles, and manufactured goods. Despite its initial subordinate status, Kush gradually asserted its autonomy and emerged as a regional power in its own right during the New Kingdom period of ancient Egypt. The decline of Egyptian control over Nubia, coupled with internal political upheavals within Egypt itself, created opportunities for Kushite leaders to assert their independence and expand their sphere of influence. The Kushite rulers of the 25th dynasty seized upon these circumstances to assert their dominance over Egypt, culminating in the conquest of Memphis and the establishment of Kushite pharaohs on the throne of the two lands. This period, often referred to as the Kushite or Nubian dynasty, marked the zenith of Kushite power and influence, with its monarchs ruling over an empire stretching from the Nile Delta to the confluence of the Blue and White Nile in modern-day Sudan. The Kushite pharaohs, notably Pa, Shabaka, and Tahaka, sought to legitimize their rule by adopting and reviving traditional Egyptian religious and cultural practices, while also promoting Nubian cultural identity and pride. The construction of monumental temples and pyramids, such as those at Gebel Barkal and Meroe, served as symbols of Kushite grandeur and authority, solidifying the civilization's status as a major player on the stage of ancient Near Eastern politics. The political organization of Kush was characterized by two prominent kingdoms, Napatan and Meroitic. These kingdoms represented successive phases of Kushite rule and exerted significant influence over the region's political landscape. Napatan, located in the northern region of Kush, served as the capital during the Napatan period, circa 800 to 300 BCE. It emerged as a center of power following the conquest of Egypt by Kushite kings during the 25th dynasty. The rulers of Napatan established a formidable empire, extending their authority over both Egypt and Nubia. Subsequently, the capital shifted southward to Meroe during the Meroitic period, circa 300 BCE to 350 CE, marking a transitional phase in Kushite governance. Meroe, strategically located between the Nile's third and fourth cataracts, flourished as a vibrant urban center and became the focal point of Kushite civilization. Kushite society was characterized by monarchical rule, with kings, and occasionally queens, exercising centralized authority over their domains. The institution of kingship was deeply entrenched in Kushite ideology, with rulers often depicted as divine or semi-divine figures endowed with a mandate to govern. Dynastic succession played a crucial role in Kushite politics, with power passing from one royal lineage to another through hereditary means. The legitimacy of rulership was often reinforced through elaborate rituals and ceremonies, emphasizing the divine right of kings to rule. Kushite governance relied on a complex administrative apparatus to manage the affairs of state and oversee the functioning of various institutions. Administrative officials, appointed by the king, occupied key roles within the bureaucracy and were responsible for tasks such as tax collection, law enforcement, and public works projects. The administrative structure of Kush was hierarchical in nature, with officials organized into distinct tiers of authority. At the highest echelon stood the royal court, comprising the king's closest advisors and ministers, who wielded considerable influence over decision-making processes. One of the most iconic architectural achievements of Kushite civilization is the construction of royal pyramids, which served as monumental tombs for the ruling elite. Inspired by Egyptian architectural traditions, Kushite pyramids were built primarily at burial sites in both Napatan and Meroitic, reflecting the continuity of cultural practices across different periods of Kushite history. These pyramids, characterized by their distinctive steep angles and narrow passageways, symbolized the power and prestige of the Kushite monarchy. The grandeur of these structures attested to the wealth and resources at the disposal of Kushite rulers, who spared no expense in ensuring their eternal legacy. Kushite civilization boasted several thriving urban centers, characterized by bustling markets, administrative buildings, and religious precincts. Cities such as Napatan and Meroitic served as hubs of economic activity and cultural exchange, attracting merchants, artisans, and scholars from across the region. Urban planning in Kushite cities reflected a keen understanding of both practical and symbolic considerations. Streets were laid out in a grid pattern, facilitating movement and commerce, while prominent landmarks such as temples and palaces adorned the urban landscape, imbuing these cities with a sense of grandeur and majesty. Religion played a central role in Kushite society, with temples serving as focal points for spiritual worship and communal gatherings. Temples dedicated to deities such as Amun, Isis, and Osiris dotted the landscape of Kushite cities, reflecting the syncretic nature of Kushite religious beliefs, which drew inspiration from both indigenous African traditions and Egyptian religious practices. These temples, characterized by their monumental architecture and intricate reliefs, provided sanctuaries for ritual ceremonies, offerings, and prayers. They also served as centers of cultural and intellectual activity, where priests and scribes preserved sacred texts, conducted astronomical observations, and administered the affairs of the state in conjunction with the monarchy. Religion played a pivotal role in shaping Kushite culture and worldview, with influences drawn from both indigenous African beliefs and the pantheon of Egyptian deities. Kushite religion was characterized by a rich tapestry of mythological narratives, rituals, and sacred practices that reflected the cosmological understanding of the universe. Egyptian deities such as Amun, Isis, Osiris, and Horus held significant sway in Kushite religious beliefs, attesting to the long-standing cultural exchange between the two civilizations. These gods and goddesses were venerated in temples and shrines across Kush, where rituals and ceremonies were conducted to honor their divine attributes and seek their favor. Additionally, Kushite rulers often associated themselves with specific Egyptian gods, portraying themselves as divine intermediaries and guardians of cosmic order. This syncretism between Egyptian and indigenous African religious traditions contributed to the cultural hybridity of Kushite society and underscored the interconnectedness of ancient civilizations along the Nile. Kushite society was organized along hierarchical lines, with distinct social classes and roles that governed interactions and opportunities within the community. At the apex of the social hierarchy stood the royal family and nobility, who wielded political power and enjoyed privileges reserved for the elite. Below the ruling class were the priests, scribes, and administrative officials, who played essential roles in religious ceremonies, record-keeping, and governance. These educated elites formed an intellectual elite that contributed to the preservation and dissemination of knowledge within Kushite society. Beneath them were the artisans, farmers, and laborers who constituted the backbone of the economy. While they held less status and wealth compared to the elite classes, their contributions to agriculture, craftsmanship, and construction were indispensable to the functioning of Kushite civilization. The daily life of the Kushites revolved around agrarian pursuits, trade, and communal activities that sustained their society and fostered cultural cohesion. Agriculture was the primary economic activity, with farmers cultivating crops such as wheat, barley, millet, and vegetables along the fertile banks of the Nile River. The annual inundation of the Nile provided fertile silt that enriched the soil and ensured bountiful harvests. Trade played a crucial role in Kushite economy, with merchants facilitating the exchange of goods both domestically and internationally. Kush served as a vital nexus in the trans-Saharan trade routes, connecting the Mediterranean world with sub-Saharan Africa and facilitating the exchange of commodities such as gold, ivory, incense, and exotic goods. Kushite art was characterized by a distinctive blend of indigenous African motifs and Egyptian stylistic influences, resulting in a unique visual language that reflected the cultural diversity of the region. Artistic expression flourished in various mediums, including sculpture, painting, pottery, and textiles, each reflecting the aesthetic sensibilities and technical prowess of Kushite artisans. Kushite sculpture encompassed a wide range of forms, from small-scale figurines to monumental statues that adorned temples and palaces. Sculptors employed a variety of materials, including granite, limestone, and bronze, to craft lifelike representations of gods, kings, and mythical beings. These sculptures often exhibited idealized proportions, expressive facial features, and intricate detailing, capturing the essence of Kushite artistry and religious symbolism. Pottery, jewelry, and textiles formed integral components of Kushite material culture, serving both utilitarian and aesthetic purposes. Kushite pottery was renowned for its fine craftsmanship and decorative motifs, with vessels ranging from simple household containers to elaborate ceremonial wares adorned with geometric patterns and animal motifs. Jewelry was highly prized among the Kushites, with artisans crafting intricate pieces using gold, silver, and semi-precious stones. Necklaces, bracelets, and earrings were worn as symbols of status and adornment, reflecting the wealth and social standing of their owners. Textiles played a central role in Kushite dress and personal adornment, with fabrics woven from linen, wool, and cotton. These textiles were dyed in vibrant colors and embellished with decorative motifs, showcasing the skill and creativity of Kushite weavers. The military prowess of Kush was renowned throughout the ancient world, with its armies employing sophisticated strategies and tactics to secure dominance over neighboring regions. Kushite military strategy was shaped by a combination of factors, including geographical advantages, technological innovations, and strategic alliances. Kushite warfare relied heavily on infantry, composed of skilled warriors armed with spears, bows, and shields. The rugged terrain of Nubia, with its rocky outcrops and dense vegetation, favored defensive tactics, allowing Kushite forces to exploit natural fortifications and ambush enemy invaders. In addition to infantry, Kushite armies fielded cavalry units, often recruited from nomadic tribes inhabiting the desert fringes of the kingdom. These cavalry units provided mobility and flexibility on the battlefield, enabling Kushite commanders to maneuver swiftly and outflank enemy positions. Kushite military commanders were adept at exploiting their adversaries' weaknesses and adapting their tactics to suit the demands of the battlefield. Ambushes, feigned retreats, and surprise attacks were common tactics employed by Kushite forces to gain the upper hand in combat. The history of Kush is replete with tales of conquest and expansion, as ambitious rulers sought to extend their dominion over neighboring territories. The conquest of Egypt by Kushite kings during the 25th dynasty marked a high point of Kushite military expansion, with Napatan pharaohs establishing their rule over the land of the pharaohs. Beyond Egypt, Kushite armies ventured into the lands of the Levant, engaging in conflicts with rival powers such as Assyria and Persia. These military campaigns aimed to secure valuable trade routes, extract tribute from subject peoples, and assert Kushite hegemony over the wider region. Kushite military power exerted a significant influence on the geopolitical dynamics of northeastern Africa and the Near East. Relations with neighboring civilizations were characterized by a mixture of cooperation, conflict, and diplomacy, as Kushite rulers navigated complex webs of alliances and rivalries. The relationship between Kush and ancient Egypt was particularly intricate, with periods of alliance and enmity punctuating their shared history. While the 25th dynasty saw Kushite kings ruling over Egypt as pharaohs, subsequent periods witnessed a gradual decline in Kushite influence as Egyptian power reasserted itself. Kushite interactions with other civilizations, such as Assyria, Persia, and the kingdoms of the Levant, were marked by both military confrontation and diplomatic engagement. Trade networks facilitated cultural exchange and economic prosperity, while military conflicts tested the strength and resilience of Kushite military might. The decline of Kushite civilization can be attributed to a combination of internal strife, external invasions, and environmental challenges. Internal power struggles among rival factions weakened the centralized authority of the monarchy, leading to political fragmentation and instability. External threats from neighboring powers, such as the rise of the Kingdom of Aksum to the south and the incursions of nomadic tribes from the east, further weakened Kushite defenses and eroded its territorial control. Additionally, environmental factors, such as shifts in rainfall patterns and desertification, may have contributed to agricultural decline and economic hardship, exacerbating the kingdom's woes. Despite its eventual decline, the legacy of Kushite civilization endures as a testament to the ingenuity, resilience, and cultural richness of ancient Nubia. The achievements of Kushite society in the fields of architecture, art, religion, and governance continue to inspire fascination and admiration among scholars and enthusiasts of ancient history. The monumental pyramids, majestic temples, and exquisite artifacts left behind by the Kushites bear witness to their remarkable achievements and enduring legacy. The legacy of Kushite civilization reverberated far beyond the borders of ancient Nubia, exerting a profound influence on neighboring societies and subsequent historical developments. In Nubia, the legacy of Kushite rule persisted through the Christian and Islamic periods, as elements of Kushite culture and identity continued to shape the region's social and religious landscape. In Egypt, the Kushite conquest of the 25th dynasty left an indelible mark on Egyptian history, influencing artistic styles, religious practices, and political ideologies. Beyond the Nile Valley, the legacy of Kushite civilization resonated with later African kingdoms and empires, inspiring a sense of cultural pride and connection to ancient African heritage. As we reflect on the legacy of Kushite civilization, we are compelled to reassess its place in world history and challenge the Eurocentric biases that have marginalized its significance. Kushite achievements in politics, art, religion, and diplomacy demand recognition and appreciation on a global scale. By integrating Kushite history into mainstream narratives of human civilization, we can foster a more inclusive and nuanced understanding of the past, one that celebrates the diversity and complexity of human experience. In conclusion, the story of Kushite civilization serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of ancient cultures and the imperative of preserving and promoting their legacies for generations to come. As we embark on this journey of rediscovery and re-evaluation, let us embrace the richness and diversity of Kushite heritage and ensure that its light continues to shine brightly in the annals of human history.